The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. I am Edward Jones IV. This is
Latanya Jones.
And this is the Phamily Phirst podcast, where we talk about marriage, relationships, children, and sometimes
nothing at all.
Nothing at all. We are back. We're back after a 1-week hiatus because somebody was on the high seas enjoying Mother's Day in the Caribbean. How was that?
It was wonderful.
It was wonderful. Did you want to come back?
No.
Ain't that some stuff? But that's all right. I'm glad she's back. And I know that you're glad that she is back as well. And we are great. We are happy to be back on WVTC YouTube to talk about Phamily Phirst. And so today we're thinking about it's graduation season. Kids are getting out of school, proms and all of that good stuff. And we thought that it would be good to talk about education, kids and education, how important it is for our children, for their present, for their future, and maybe some habits that we can instill in them, some things that as parents that we can do to help them on their educational journey. And so that's what we'll talk about tonight, if that's all right with you. That's all right with you?
Okay.
That's okay. Okay. So I'm blessed because I grew up in a house with an educator. My mama was a teacher, and it was instilled from birth that education was important, and it's carried me through my entire life. And I think that is something that we have kind of lost in our communities, the attitude toward school, the attitude toward education. It seems like sometimes our kids go to school to do everything but learn. And now that summertime is here, they're really not thinking about school. They're on vacation, summer vacation. But I believe that there are some things that as parents that we can do that can help our children further on in their education and life, even in the summertime, to give them the right attitude when they go back to school. And so in our family, we do a lot of stuff with our kids during the summertime. I remember growing up, and even though we were on summer break, we had school. You get up in the morning, eat your breakfast, and there was schoolwork to do before you went outside to play. Do kids even go outside to play anymore? No.
I think they do. They
Kids,
just do it differently.
Let us know if kids still go outside to play. You think they still do? Okay. Usually they stuck behind a computer and a game console, but we had to go outside and get some fresh air and get some dirt on our, under our fingernails and some stuff like that. But we had to do schoolwork before. Mom would have, the the the, the education books and stories and math books and things of that nature. And that's kind of stuff that we have done with our kids over the years to get them engaged in education. What do you think about it? That being important even during the summer times.
Yeah, I know summer times, even our kids, they've had granny camp
Yeah.
where grandma, she would have lessons for them over the summer. There was mommy camp.
Mhm.
um and so we would do some of the similar things that granny camp would do, but then I would include field
Field
trips.
trips.
So field trips to the museums, and the whole idea is just fostering a love and a passion for learning.
Good. Yeah.
So that is the idea. The idea is that there's a whole world around you. There's a lot to discover. There's a lot to learn, and so that they will be passionate about growing and learning, no matter where they are.
Hmm.
So even as they grow, from the time that they were little to the time that they were, now in college, some of them, fostering that love and that passion for learning.
Yeah, and that's important. And I think sometimes, hey, Sister Duckworth, Georgia Duckworth, good to see that you're on. One of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Um, I love um, the fact that you're so uh, engaged and active with them, especially
Mhm.
in mommy camp. Notice she said mommy camp and not daddy camp, mommy dad, because daddy is not getting on the train and going to the field museum and all that stuff. I just don't like that stuff.
Mhm.
But that's part of having a partnership and teamwork to do that.
Mhm.
But one of the big things about uh, about that is the parents
Mhm.
having the right view of education, the right view of wanting to stimulate children's minds, and
Mhm.
that because I really believe that that's where it starts. This education doesn't start at school,
Mhm.
it starts at home, and education is not perfected at school, it's perfected at home. And so I think also, I believe also that some of our children's lack of interest in school
Mhm.
comes from seeing parents that don't have an interest in school, or if parents had struggles in school, they're not so quick to jump in and because they feel intimidated maybe by some of the subjects that the students are doing if they
Mhm.
didn't have a great academic career. But it's so important whether you graduated with a doctorate degree or you barely graduated sixth grade, that you are involved and engaged with your child's learning.
I will say that my I think good example, I can say my mom, high school degree, high school diploma. Um but she was very engaged in our education in terms of coming up to the school when need be,
Yeah.
making sure that things were done that needed to be done, talking with teachers. So she was very, and I think she was an example for me, that education is important. And even though maybe she didn't go as far as she wanted to go, but it was important that her children went far. And so, um, seeing how she was and how that was important to her, um, when it came time for me to have kids, and it's like, okay, these are some of the things that I want to do. I wanted to make sure that I was just as engaged and involved with their education. I wanted to make sure that the teachers knew who I am.
Right. Oh yeah.
That the teachers knew that they got a mama and a daddy.
And a dad. Oh yeah. Oh, and that's important. That's really important.
Yeah.
Dads, you got to show up at
You
the
gotta
schools.
be,
They need
you
to know
have
that
to
they got
be
dads at
present.
home.
You
Yeah.
have to be present. And one of the things, because I just felt like I just took things a step further than what my mom did, was that, I would not only teach my kids, this is how you engage at school
Yeah.
with your teachers, principals, so on and so forth. This is how you engage. This is how you advocate for yourself. I can't be in the classroom with you. So there's going to be some things that you might experience, things that you might see that I'm not going to be there to see. This is how you advocate for yourself. This is how you speak up and talk for yourself, because this is your education.
Right.
It is in your hands. And so you have to take it seriously. So this is a message that, our kids have had from day one.
Yeah.
This is your education. Now, this is, as your parents, we encourage you. This is what we want you to do. But ultimately, this is your education. Like, we can't do this for you.
Right.
Now, we can help you. We can support you. And again, teaching them how to communicate and articulate what their needs are, because then you realize that every kid has different needs. Some kids need more than others. Some kids don't need as much. Some kids need more encouragement. It just depends. So you have to really, as a parent, you have to be very attentive. You have to really watch, observe. Does it seem like they're struggling or avoiding doing certain things? Does it seem like, you look at their backpack and if you look at their backpack and it's all over the place and there's no organization there, hello, warning sign.
And we go through backpacks. We go through backpacks every day.
Yes, you have to. You have to. And I know that even now, society is really big on giving each other space, and I don't want to mess with, cross that boundary of Peter, because I don't want to hurt people's feelings, or I don't want to invade his space. No, parents, we got to invade space.
Yeah.
We have to invade the space. We have to let's go through some, like, kids need to know that we're checking, that we're watching, and we're doing so because we care.
Right.
And then if there are things that's going on, how can we better support you, especially when you're looking at grades and you notice, changes, or you notice that they're just not performing. How can I support you? What can I do?
Right.
Because sometimes you have to be able to identify too, is there a learning disability there? Is there, maybe they need a little bit more help. And so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. But that is how you begin to encourage and support your children. And it starts at such a young age. And I always say, parents, hey, don't be ashamed if you don't know what to do.
Right.
There are resources out there.
Yeah.
You can get help.
Yeah.
So you don't have to, even if you are a single parent, you don't have to suffer alone. Believe it or not, schools have support. They have help. There are a lot of organizations out there that offer help, but ultimately it stems from that parent.
It's gotta start with the parent.
Yeah.
And there are certain things. Good to see you, Bernetta, Sister Donaldson. One thing that is so important. One of the things that we did with our kids is that kids don't do homework when they're young. They didn't do homework in their own area. You don't go to your room and do homework. When you come home from school, everybody is at the dining room table. out in the open, put everything up, and we're going to watch you do your homework, or we'll do your homework with you. In a lot of situations, we're doing homework at the same time.
Yeah,
But,
I think that was huge.
Yeah.
And we've kind of mentioned this before, but there were times where we were all doing homework. You was doing homework, I was doing homework, they were doing homework, and we at the table together. And they're able to see. So it's not even just us saying education is important.
Right.
But we're modeling that behavior for them.
Right.
So it's not like, oh, this is foreign. You know, that mom and dad is talking about education and going to school. No, this is normal.
Right.
This is a part of everyday life. This is what we do.
Right.
This is not anything different. And so I think by them seeing us and seeing what we do, you know, you're in school, I'm in school, been in school. They see that it's a normal part of life.
Yeah.
You know, it's not anything, you know, extra. So, and I think we were more heavily on just in our household, because you mentioned sometimes kids are doing way more than just the you know, going to school. And they're just like in tons of activities, which I do think that being in a lot of those activities are great. I think that they are good to a certain point. You have to know what can your child handle.
Yeah.
I know when Jasmine was in high school, she was a part of the color guard at Marion, and I was shocked. I was shocked at the amount of time and practice that they had to. And I was just talking with someone about this. I mean, from the time they got out of school, 3:00, till sometimes 7, 8:00. And if it was competition season, sometimes they weren't finished with practice until like 9:00 at night. And then she would come home after that long day and still stay up until sometimes 1:00 in the morning doing homework.
Oh yeah, because she knew the homework had to be done.
And I mean, she did not miss a beat. Her grades did not suffer. I mean, she was on it.
Yeah.
She and one thing about Jasmine, she just did not play.
Yeah.
When it came to her grades, it just, I mean, you know, getting a B, she like, wait a minute, something's wrong. Like something's not right here, because she just did not play when it came to her grades. And that's just how she was. But you have to keep in mind that not every kid is like that.
I'll give you a great example and how parenting helps in that. I think I may have told this story before, but I was born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And in Oklahoma, football is king. Football is king. And I played football from the time I could walk and run, anything else. And I played alongside with people that played in the NFL, that currently coach in the NFL, coaching college football coaches and things of that nature. And we were good. We won championships. But one year, and I was a straight A student. I had to. My mom was a teacher at the same time. But one year, my grade slipped. My grade slipped. I got some C's or something. I mean, you know, and there was no hesitation. Mom said, no more football. Done. Your season is over. Because you know, we got now as you get grades every, you know, you get semester, but we were on a quarter, you know, every quarter you had a quarter report card. And so the season went over after that first quarter. The season was in good, you know, we haven't got to the end of the season when that first quarter report card came out. She was like, "Deuces, go take your shoulder pads and your helmet and your thigh pads and your knee pads. Go take them back because the most important thing is your education." Because she realized that even though my dad was 6'2", she was only 4'11". I wasn't growing. I wasn't becoming no professional football player.
Right.
So I need to learn how to do something with what was in between my ears. And so, but we need as parents, we have to be able to say, no, if you're not going to handle business in the classroom, then you can't do anything else. I know you like money and you got a nice little job, you know, but right now your job is going to school. Your job is getting A's. Your job is getting B's. You know, your job is doing your homework. Your job is performing to the best of your ability. And so, as parents, we have to be on our children that way, regardless of if we were great students or not. Because sometimes I think a lot of parents think, well, I only got C's. I barely graduated high school, and you don't have that expectation of your children. And so we don't encourage them to achieve. We don't. And so, and because of that, let me tell you this, children will live to meet your expectations. They want to please their parents, and we can use that in a positive manner. You know what? I believe that you're smart enough that you can get A's. I believe that you're smart enough. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status. It doesn't matter how much, what we live, but you can do the best you can, and you can achieve academically. And I believe that there's so many of us as parents that because we had bad high school experiences, or we had bad elementary school experiences, or we had problems learning, and we just figured, you know what? You know what? You got that D. That's all right. I got D's too, and not push them to do better. And I believe that that does a disservice to our children, especially when there's so much help available. Like you said, we might not be able to help them, because our skill level might not be there, but there is so much help available. And I think that's something that we need to do. Good to see you on, Pastor Mabry. Good to see you. And you're right, Sister Deborah Rogers, a wonderful member of Grace. Yeah, kids get their own space when they get their own place. So when you're in the house, it's our job as parents to develop our children. It's our job to sit with them.
And being able to see, what they can do. Like I said, I learned early on from Jasmine. Okay, she's a high achiever. There really isn't a whole lot that I needed to do with her, just to keep her encouraged. That's it. But not a whole lot. And because she was one that had, I can take this on, I can do it. I know what I can do. She knew who she was going into the classroom. And if she felt like she didn't get the right grade, she was talking to that teacher.
Yeah.
Hands down. And it didn't matter what school she was in.
Yeah.
It didn't matter the environment. If all the kids were hanging from the ceiling, she was the only one that was
yes, that's right. She went, all right.
And so I remember a comment that her teacher one time made and said, I don't think Jasmine realizes that she's a student too. Because the way that she carried herself was that this was important and this was a job. Like this was her job. And so now, of course, it's like with the boys were a little bit different.
Yeah.
They weren't the same.
No.
Now, the thing is, just as smart. Just as smart.
But we have to pay more attention to them.
But we had to pay a little bit more attention to them. We did.
Yeah.
And they needed a little bit more. And we had to do a whole lot more. Hey, did you do that? Yes. Checking in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so again,
they were miserable when they when so I'm so glad they didn't have this when we were in school. but they had the where we can check their grades and assignments that they had on our phone.
Oh yeah.
We could see. And so by the time they got home, we already knew that they didn't have assignments turned in or they missed stuff. And so
every time.
and so and it's like and they have to, I don't care what the excuse is. I don't care what, get it done.
Right.
And so with the boys, you're right, because they're so smart. So Joshua was kind of like me. I'm a procrastinator by nature, because I have the way that I'm wired in my mind and my
I got it all.
And so I will wait because I perform better under pressure. So if something was due at midnight, and I will calculate in my mind how much time I need to get it done by midnight. So if I calculate that I need 30 minutes to get it done, I'm starting at 11:31 to give me that pressure because okay, see if I can get it done in 29 minutes instead of 30, because I think it's going to take me 30. Regardless, if I had 10 weeks to get it done, I'm going to wait to that last 30 minutes because I figure I can get it done. That's how Joshua is.
Right.
And so to get him to not procrastinate and to fall into those bad habits. And so now seeing him in college now, having fixed those things.
Right.
Because now he realizes that some of his scholarship at Hampton is tied to his academics, so he can't, procrastinate. He's got to be on top of his stuff. Jonathan,
he was the opposite. He was the opposite. Yeah. But I think that sometimes with parents we get difficult, especially when we see kids that have bad grades, and we think, oh, they're not smart. No.
It's not that.
It's in most cases it's not that.
Definitely not
you
that.
Just have to be able to find, okay, is it that he's not organized? Is he a procrastinator? Is it that he, like with John, a lot of times it would just be he just wasn't organized. He just had stuff everywhere. And so because he wasn't organized,
would misplace stuff.
He would misplace, right.
Yeah.
So teaching him and giving him those skills to become more organized and how to be more prepared. Same thing with Joshua. It was okay. Let's talk about, not procrastinating and taking your time, because he was he liked to rush through and hurry up and be finished, and so taking your time, making sure you're going back,
give yourself more time.
Giving yourself time. And so that's again that active parenting is really taking a close look and saying, okay, what does this one need versus say this one? And realizing that they all need something different. And then once they start to develop those skills, then it's just like with Jackie and Jocelyn. Now because they're 12, and so as they're coming up and they're going through their different changes, and so it's funny, again, both very smart, intelligent young people,
and they're so much different than the boys,
and they're so much different than Jasmine, so much different than the boys.
They'll get up, get themselves ready to go, and they go. We don't have to get them up for school, and
they're so different. So but I do remember there was a time, having a twin sometimes can be tough. Can be hard.
They compete against one another.
Because you're competing against one another. And Jocelyn, again, she's a high achiever, just like her big sister. And I remember, Jacqueline feeling as like, I'm not that smart. And so you realize, okay, with her, she just needs some encouragement. Right. And you're really helping to build, self-esteem at that age. And so now, she's grown out of it, and hey, mama, I'm doing this, and mama, I'm doing this, and look at all these different things. And so again, excited about learning and about going to school. I think too, the conversations, like parents, don't be afraid to have conversations with your kids
Mhm.
just about their learning and what they're
Yeah.
liking
Yeah.
and or maybe not liking.
Mhm.
Like I knew I knew with Jasmine, she did not like to read.
Mhm.
She didn't. English, history, she was not a fan.
Mhm.
She knew it was something that she had to do. Her sweet spot, what she
Was
loved was math.
math and numbers. Yep.
She loved dealing with numbers. She loved math. And so we would talk all the time. I know you hate it,
But you got to do it.
but you got to do it. And
Yeah.
this is why it's important.
Yeah.
And so we would have those conversations, and it would be the same thing, you know, talking to like Joshua
Yeah.
about, you know, his writing,
Vice versa.
and
He's like
things like
yeah,
that, you
yeah.
know, and that is how too they start to learn to develop their passions
Right.
and what they like to do. What's interesting to me is I have talked to so many young people who have no clue
Mhm.
as to what they want to study, what they may want to do. They just have no
Mhm.
idea. They know I have to go to college, but they don't know what for.
Mhm.
They don't know why.
Mhm.
Parents, we have to have these
Conversations.
conversations with our children, and it doesn't start when they get in high school.
Right. Yeah. You can't.
It doesn't start when they become seniors.
Right.
It starts when they're like Jackie and Justin's
Yeah.
age, 10, 12
Mhm.
years old,
Yeah.
when they're discovering what they like
Yeah.
and what their passions are, and really looking at them. Like we could see Jocelyn, she wants to be somebody's teacher.
Right. Oh, she bossy. She's so bossy. Lord have mercy.
She gets it honest.
Yeah.
She gets it honest. But she is going to be somebody's teacher. She's always tried to be the teacher assistant. She's always trying to help in the classroom.
Mhm.
All those different things. Now, of course, she could decide she want to do something completely different. But these are things that we see out of her naturally. So we encourage that.
Yep.
Same thing with Jackie. She's a talented artist.
Yeah.
She really loves art. She draws so well. She does all different kinds of art. And she talks about it all the time. She spends all of her time drawing.
Mhm.
And she's asked me, so Mama, what can I do with art?
Yeah.
She's asked me about, well, can I study art in school? And what schools can I go to study art? So we have these conversations.
Right.
And so that way, as she's growing and she's getting older, now she's really starting to formulate in her mind, this is what I want to do.
And this is what it's going to take for me to get there.
And this is what it's going to take for me to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so let me say this, and let me help you, parents and even grandparents that are raising children. Your kids are not slow.
Mm-mm. Not at all.
They can learn. It's just a matter of if they want to take the time to learn it. I bet you they know all the new dances.
Mhm.
They knew all, they know all the songs.
Mhm.
They know all the video games. They know all of this stuff because
Especially in video games, that take a lot to learn. I can't.
But they've invested in it, and
Right.
so it's not in their capability. It's not in their ability to learn. Their ability it is directing it in a positive way, and we have to parent them.
Mhm.
They can't parent themselves,
And they're not getting it from school.
No,
and
no.
that's not the teacher's
No,
responsibility.
right. And that's the thing. We expect not to do homework with them. We expect not to read with them. We read with our children when they're young. We don't do anything with them and then expect the teachers to work miracles.
Mhm.
They can't.
Mhm.
Because half the time teachers are trying to discipline or trying just to not have a zoo in their classroom.
Man, now I was just thinking back in my time,
Yeah.
in our time when we
Yeah.
were in school, it was so different. I mean,
Yeah.
I think teachers could be, you know, a little bit more different and can take the time to help encourage you to pursue
Mhm.
your dream and try to bring those things out of you, because just the classroom dynamics, I
Mhm.
think, were just so different.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nowadays, and I have a lot of friends who are teachers
Educators. Yeah.
that are educators that, you know, they tell me stories about the different things that are going on in the classroom, and there is just such a huge lack of support from
Mhm.
parents in dealing with children. And I mean, this is at all ages. And so now as a teacher, they have to be more of the disciplinarian than, you know, just doing their actual
Yeah.
job
Yeah.
of teaching and encouraging and inspiring the
Yeah.
students. They gotta be there to discipline,
Yeah. Right. Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And so you know, as a parent, you cannot expect for the teachers to, you know, impart
Mm.
all of this into the students. That's our job
Yeah.
as the
That's
parent.
right. Right. I say all the time, parents, send your children to school ready to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So don't send them ready to play. Don't send them ready to hang out with friends,
Mhm.
or whatever. That is a periphery aspect of being in school. But you parents used to say all the time, "You go. I sent you to school to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't send you there to play with your friends. I didn't send you there. I sent you there to learn."
We need to go back
We
to
need to,
that.
yeah, but in all honesty, some parents, they think, well, shoot, I'll send them to school so I can have them out of my hair for 8 hours.
Yeah.
So I don't have to be bothered, so I can go do my thing or whatever. And so I'm not helping with no homework. I'm not, like I said, if we as parents have a negative view
Mm-hmm.
of school, if
Mm-hmm.
we cannot expect
Yeah.
our children to have a good view and a positive view of education.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, some of the things that we can do, because summer is upon us.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do to get them ready for the fall when it starts all over again? If
Mm-hmm.
you can go, and these are some things that I like to recommend, especially for those parents and grandparents of younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Go to the dollar store.
Mm-hmm.
Go to uh, the teacher store. They got, and get the workbooks.
Oh yeah.
Get the biggest thing you can help, that they have the workbooks, because they don't really teach cursive writing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Get the workbooks
Mm-hmm.
that I've seen young people, even in college students, whose handwriting is horrendous.
You can even order them from Amazon.
Yeah. We can order Amazon, but get them a pencil and trace them letters,
Mm-hmm.
cursive, print, age appropriate. If they're in second grade, get them a fourth grade book.
Mm-hmm.
If they're in sixth grade, get them an eighth grade book,
Mm-hmm.
and encourage them and say, you know what? Before you do anything else, you're gonna get up, you're gonna take a shower, you're gonna clean yourself,
Mm-hmm.
fix you some breakfast or whatever. But before you turn on social media,
Mm-hmm.
before you get on your game,
Mm-hmm.
before you do anything else or go outside, we're gonna spend a couple of hours doing this.
Yeah, have a schedule. I know that was something that helped me when I had the kids, and I know grandma, she did the same thing. She would have a schedule, and actually when she would have her schedule be written out on a nice big sticky piece of paper on the wall, so the kids could see.
Yeah.
And there was a time you get up, this is a time where you're gonna have breakfast, time where you're gonna do this work, and she would have it together. There's a time for lunch and a nap.
Yeah, nap. Yes,
Nap was always
everybody
included.
gonna nap.
Everybody gonna nap.
You 18, so you gonna take a nap.
Everybody gonna nap. Even the dog would take a nap. So everybody was taking a nap. And so that was something that the kids can look forward to. It's like, believe it or not, kids like order
and structure.
And so they know what's coming and they look forward to that. And so definitely check out your local libriaries. They always have that's where we would get the free passes to the museums. We would they would have different summer readings that you can do, summer reading programs. And so basically take them and they would be a part of that. And so there's always something to do. Reading, and encourage them to read books, but then also here, read some of the newspaper articles, newspaper clippings, so that you're in touch with what's going on in the world. And so those are all different, and we make it fun. Like we would make it fun. I remember one time when I took a field trip to the museum. We went to the planetarium, field museum, and the kids actually recorded it.
Did the video.
They did a video of what they were doing and recorded it, and they had a whole video of their whole trip. I still have it to this day.
Yes, we still have it.
And it was just so much fun, but they enjoyed themselves. And that's the whole point. We're having fun, but we're learning at the same time.
We're exposing them. And children can only go, they can't go where they haven't seen.
Right.
And so it's our responsibility. They're not going to find it on their own.
Right.
We have to expose them to those things. And on an academic level at school, but Vacation Bible School.
Yeah.
Take them to Vacation Bible School. They can learn some Bible over the summer as well.
That's what one thing about Grandma, she always incorporates some type of Bible where they learn scripture. I remember one time they did Fruit of the Spirit. And they had to learn all of the fruits of the Spirit and what they meant in the scripture. And they learned it in English and in Spanish.
Because my mother is a
fluent in Spanish. And so
English teacher.
They're learning, a different language as well. And so it's just important. Now they kind of look back as the big three have gotten older and just appreciate that. And so, parents out there watching, you don't be shocked and surprised by if you just take a little bit. Even if you say, hey, I'm just going to take a couple of hours out of my day to do something over the summer with the kids to kind of build them up in areas, especially if you've noticed, little Johnny has been really disorganized. And I'm noticing in his backpack, every time he comes home, everything is disheveled. Okay, so now that's something that you need to work with little Johnny on, is becoming organized. And so you can set some goals around that to say, okay, we're going to work each week and do something different to help you build up those skills of organization, because it's going to make him a stronger student.
That is so very true. And I'm not advocating that you have to spend a lot of money to do things.
We didn't have
no money.
We didn't have none.
And when they went on their field trips, they packed the lunch.
That's it.
And made it a real school field trip.
That's
like
it.
Did
That's
in school.
it. That's it.
And so, but libraries
free.
Take advantage. That would be one of the biggest. That's one of the things that I would really say to parents. The library is there for you.
It's free.
It's free. They have so many programs, reading programs, art programs, electronic. They do all kinds of things. So please, 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 please invest in your children doing that. They have free days at the different museums. Take advantage of those things. Music. There's so many different things. this is something else you could do, because people, you stay on, we stay on television. People always, what if you turned it to PBS?
Oh yeah,
Or
we
instead,
did some of
yeah,
those
right,
documentaries.
watch
Yes.
documentaries, get on PBS instead of watching Ratchet TV and some of those
Oh
other.
my goodness.
And maybe if us parents would turn off the Ratchet TV and
Oh
read
my
some and
goodness.
watch some documentaries, but that's a whole nother subject. But PBS or the History Channel or Discover Network, we have so many avenues to help our children to do better, and us, we could, and we should be lifelong learners as well. So those are all different types of things that I am imploring you to do this summer, because if you keep them in that vein this summer, the teacher, when the fall comes, isn't going to have to take 3 months to reprogram your child or to get them ready to learn again, because they just threw everything out the window the day that the final school bell rang in the summer.
Yeah. Awesome. And I think too, you just never know what bells may start to go off for them.
Yeah.
Again, because you're really trying to create them to be lifelong learners, to enjoy learning, to discover what's out there, and discover more than just what they see in front of them. But just develop that curiosity. I want to know more. I want to learn about science. I want to learn, about, like, I'm not, I was a music person in school. So that was my thing. Maybe a little bit of science, but again, I'm not afraid to explore that stuff with them. And so again, hey, is that something that you're interested in? Okay, let's explore it. Art. Okay, let's explore it. Okay, whatever it is, you can encourage that and build that in your child.
And that's why I say all the time, when the Bible says train up a child in the way he should go, and he will not depart from it when he's old, he won't depart from it. That's what it means. Find out what your child likes and push him or her in that direction. It does not mean that don't do the things that they don't like, because most of school and most of education is doing stuff you don't like.
Right.
But guess what? That's life. As an adult, you're gonna have to. You ain't gonna want to pay them bills. But you do it. You don't want to go to work. But you do it. Life is about doing things that you don't want to do. And so I saw Rock was on. Our minister of music at Grace. Do those things with your girls. Do some of those activities, learn those things. Pastor Mabry, that's right. We have to be proactive. We cannot be reactive. And so we are our child's first teacher. We are our child's best teacher. And if we're not doing anything with them academically, we're teaching them. We're teaching them that school isn't important. We're teaching them that education isn't important. And so we have to be proactive and teach them that these things are vital, not just to them right now, but for their future as well. Yeah. So I think Will, is that a good place to put a pin in it?
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to put a pin in it right here. That's the end of our conversation dealing with children and education. Hopefully that this has been a fruitful conversation for you. We'll be back on next week. But if you want to see us before next Tuesday, you can see us this coming Sunday at Grace Missionary Baptist Church, 16650 Crawford Avenue, Markham, Illinois. And with that, we start promptly at 10:30 a.m. Rock and the worship team's gonna get us started. I'm in the middle of a series actually I'm at the end now of a series talking about the Spirit-filled family. So we've been talking about this. I've got something good on the cooker for Sunday. So come out and come see us on this coming Sunday. So, but until then, once again, I'm Edward Jones IV. This is
Latanya Jones.
And this is the Phamily Phirst podcast. We will see you again next week. Take care.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communication Station.